This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
No, let me try this again. I've got a block here. Another side. It is another. How about yet another side of midnight? And I'm here to, I don't know if you're going to like this one, but remember, I tell you what I feel. I will never lie to you. I'll never say something to you that I think has to be said. I'll never say something that is popular. I'll never take the community opinion on something just because that's what everybody says. I would prefer sometimes not to discuss things. There are some topics I will never discuss on the show. Just don't. I don't think this is the time or the place or the audience or the time yet for the story to be developed. It is too raw. I also think that when you dare sometimes to tell people that what they believe to be the case is not exactly so, well, some people get upset. To make a long story short, yesterday my wife and I saw Disclosure Day. And I can't believe it. We saw 2 movies. I have not been to just didn't go to movies. There's some great ones coming up. One about, by the way, the Zuckerberg case where he was being trained in how to testify. That looks exceedingly good, at least from the trailer. You can also tell sometimes when the movies are just crummy. Anyway, Disclosure. No spoiler alerts, no anything. I think is just garbage. You can see it if you want. You may love it. It's like Spielberg, What Happened to You? Who wrote this? What is the point of this? What were you trying to say? And I was listening to a lot of his various interviews he does, and he doesn't know either. He frankly doesn't know. Well, it's about humanity. And I love the story because before you begin, you have to remember something. Pick this subject very carefully. Most people that you will meet do not understand how to handle it. Let me tell you why. First, whatever the subject is, Vietnam, the Vatican, God, history. Don't forget what I said about Tolstoy. History would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. People will come with their own sense of what they believe the truth is. It's not Dunning-Kruger. It's different. Next is the word believe. Do you believe that we're alone? Do you believe that there are extraterrestrials? Do you believe that there are UAPs? And I hate the way they change them. UAP, I'm sorry. I never got into UAPs. Excuse me. And one of the things which is the most important out of everything is this idea of we don't enjoy the notion of wonder. We don't enjoy any time saying, wow, think about this. Recently, there was a baby that was born. And they said, isn't it great? I said, no. Do you understand how mind-boggling this is for this child to come from what? From what? To viscous, organic deposits that if I put it on your sleeve, you would immediately try to wash it off. You say, what is this? And from these 2 seemingly organic, whatever you want to call it, you get a human? Nobody cares anything about that. But when we die, oh, we go so deep. Where do we go? What happens next? Do you meet God? Is there a heaven? I said, wait a minute. Let's talk about this beforehand. First of all, where was this child before? And they say, well, what do you mean? Well, where did the child come before? Did the child come from nothing? And the answer they might say is yes, from nothing. The child came from nothing. There was nothing. There was no child. There was none. Never existed. We were there. Yes, yes, yes. So when people always say, they'll ask, how? What do you mean we came from nothing? The Big Bang. What happened before the Big Bang? They asked Stephen Hawking, what happened before the Big Bang? He says, what's south of the South Pole? You see where I'm getting at? We don't wonder enough. When I was in school, I don't know what year, what grade, I don't remember, but I remember the event. It was a cube, a black cube. And in this cube, somebody threw something in there. A paperclip, a marble, a rock, I don't know what it was. And we just had to figure out what was it. And we waited, and we couldn't open it up. And we moved it, and we shook it, and we tried to take other samples of the cubes, and we turned it from side to side. I said, there's something spherical in here. There's something not circular, spherical, 3-dimensional. Something is sliding, something is rolling, there's something. And we would try to figure out what it was. And it was this thing where we tried to figure out, to wonder, critical thinking, to wonder, what does this mean? To wonder, to look up, to sit back in the grass, maybe at a concert, and look up and see stars if there's no light pollution, and just wonder. Don't answer the questions. There's no interest in answering the questions. What do you want to answer questions for? Ask questions. So, the movie. And this is my thing, and this has been a subject of mine, a pet peeve for the longest time. I always ask the question when somebody asks, do you believe? You always have to say, well, I've never seen one. I'm not sure if I've seen one. I don't know, but I've never seen an electron before, but I take their word for it, blah, blah, blah. But I believe that people have seen something. I believe that there are many, many people who saw something. I believe that there are people who saw something that indeed were from another planet or stellar system. I think some people are a little crazy. Have you ever met somebody who was an astronomer crazy? Who everything is, well, it's Mercury rising. And they really don't know that much about it, but they love acting like they do believe. They really do. They love acting like they believe. Spielberg, again, no spoiler alerts here, has this idea of making the extraterrestrials too mysterious. And here is the question. If you met something that was indeed from another system, would they be really that mysterious? It's funny how you would say, well, look, they certainly look humanesque or humanoid, as do we. There's that bilateralism, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. We all have the same chemicals. We are stardust. We are golden. I think Joni Mitchell said it best. We're from the same. We have eyes. We probably have we have a different sensory apparatus. Some of these things, I like when they say, it's always the one version of the extraterrestrial. Big eyes, almond head, that eye, kind of the E.T. look. It's the only one we know. Yet people who have spoken about it says there are, I don't want to say hundreds, but various versions. Some looking Nordic, some looking whatever. Maybe some are shape-shifting. I don't know, but it's funny. Even when we talk about this, we have a dynamic. We have a certain, what's the word? We have a certain predisposition to believing that they look in a particular way, or that they're magical, or they can, and again, I don't want to ruin this, but all of a sudden say, hey, I'm speaking Russian. I don't know why. I thought one of the most interesting stories was that normally with advancement comes improvement upon systems. There has to be sensory. There has to be something. And it was also, not to interrupt this, but it makes sense to me that a lot of what we see are not necessarily the actual, and we'll use the word critter themselves, but maybe a robot, an orb, some type of a drone, something that is sent out to collect information or what have you. Many of these weird flying orbs or craft could very well not contain anything that we would call an extraterrestrial. Might be just, again, like a drone, like a drone is to us. I used to speak with Stanton Friedman. He was really the most lucid of them all. I loved him. He was the granddaddy of modern ufology. He was very careful. He didn't just imagine things. There's this fellow, Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer, his mind, I think he's a bit of a fabulist. He imagines that they're good, and they come to warn us, don't destroy yourself. They came after World War II. What does that mean? Well, obviously they came after we detonated bombs, and they were warning us. It's like, really? How do you know that? I don't know. It's like a Rorschach test. Why do you think they're going to be so benevolent? Why do you think they would look at you as being anything other than an ant or a cattle? Or maybe, I don't know. It tells me more about you. But what I always find interesting is that you would not believe the ordinariness of it. And I do not believe necessarily that they would find us, that fascinating. Is there any animal? In fact, you know what we do with animals or any kind of species? We will corral it, put it in a zoo, put it, under a microscope. We don't ever embrace the paramecium. We control it. But do you think they would necessarily want to talk with us? Maybe, maybe not. And here's the best part. And this is what I think this is where the screenwriting, again, no spoiler alert, is the most vague. How do extraterrestrials comport with God? And Steven Spielberg, I've always believed, was a deep stater from way back. A guy who was a part of the elite, a guy who was a part of, remember Hollywood, what was it? Zappa said that Hollywood basically is the entertainment arm of, like the Pentagon. It's the propaganda aspect, all the way back to Frank Capra and the CIA years ago with art and that sort of thing. Again, I don't want to make it too complicated, but Spielberg, I always thought, what are you up to? Spielberg there's a lot of stuff. He's kind of protected. And the thing you got to ask about Spielberg is a couple of things. What is your point? What is your message? And I think he is probably not somebody that people find to be devout or would agree. I don't think that religion plays a big part of him. I don't believe so. I think sometimes people pay lip service to what they believe God is. That's kind of my take in this. They sort of think that they're being honest with you, which is different.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
That is fire.
Whoa, that's good. This might be the drink of the summer.
Okay, I like this one too. I'm rocking with it. Okay.
Try it for yourself. Starbucks Refreshers Concentrates are coming home. Find them in the coffee aisle and make it yours.
Any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be a dad. This Father's Day, Red Apple Audio Networks celebrate the man who has always been there with a card that says what words sometimes can't.
I have to be honest with you folks. Father's Day is tough for me because my father was not in my life. So it's a lot of hit and miss. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of hoping and praying that you're making the right decision in terms of being a father. Being a father is very rewarding, and here's why. You watch your children grow. Being a father is very challenging because oftentimes the buck stops with you for the final decision as it relates to your children, your wife, your family. It's an awesome responsibility, but it's one that I think if you talk to any father, none of us take it lightly.
Dad, thank you for your strength, your guidance, and your unconditional love. Happy Father's Day.
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world that we call home. Like transforming an old...
This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Alrighty, Lionel with you. This is Other Side of Midnight, 800-848-9222. Now, I always love to hear from you. I love to hear from you. And I would love to hear about how, and this is the most important thing in the world, and I sometimes it's tough, but if you're of the idea, and if your thought is, there are no such things, it's ridiculous, a waste of time, do us a favor. Save your time. Save us the necessity of having to hear it. I'm not saying your opinion is not valid. It's just like when I talk to people who say, there is no God, there is no this, there is no this, or there is, or people who say, well, of course there's extraterrestrials. Why? Well, there just has to be. I don't even know what that means either. I don't know who's worse. Somebody who guarantees the existence of something because they can't imagine there not being it, or somebody who says they don't exist because, well, they just don't. We also have these people who are skeptics. They love to debunk anybody who has any questions. I can tell you that virtually everything you hear on what you would consider to be sock puppet, proxy, statist, institutional news is not the truth. It might be parts of it are true, but it is only there to give you a perspective that some people want you to have. I'm not going to go into detail because people would be most offended, and frankly, I avoid it. This is not the time nor the place. But I have no problem with that. So our number is 800-848-9222. Let's go to the phones. I'd love to hear from you. Come on aboard. Let's chat, shall we? Because believe it or not, it's not the subject matter necessarily at this time of the day. It's you. Let's go to Bobby on the Upper East Side. You're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hello.
Hello, Bobby.
Lionel?
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Upper West Side.
West Side, South Side, It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah,
to
yeah.
me, sir.
So my two kids are in their early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And when I became the bedtime story guy, we would play board games first, and then we would hop into bed and read whatever book they wanted to read, and then my wife would pop her head into and you're still awake? Turn the lights out. Stop. So we turn the lights out, and then I would say to whoever, my son or my daughter, I would say, do you want to hear a true story? And even the darkness, you could almost see their eyes become like, oh yeah, Dad, because I had been a working musician, and I had been a contractor, and I had been on sailboats, delivering sailboats from New York to Florida and from Florida to New York. And so I had seen all kinds of really cool, I could tell them true stories.
For example?
Well, flying fish. I would, there really are flying fish, and I would tell them why. Correct. And I would tell them why they were flying fish.
Why were there flying fish?
Because they were trying to get out of the fish that were trying to eat them, and the waves were big enough where they could like scoot up into the top of the crest of a wave, and they would land into the cockpit of our sailboat.
Let me ask you something. Did you ever see anything in the sky that you found particularly alarming?
Well, on one of the upward from Florida to New York, we sailed through military maneuvers, and the captain of the boat didn't really know that what it was, and so he got on the whatever the thing was, and
radio,
and he said, it was the radio direction finder, and he checked around the different frequencies, and it was like they were having board games.
Okay, but did you ever see anything that could not be attributed to anything man-made?
Yes.
Did you? Let's cut to the chase, Bobby. I love you. Did you ever see a flying saucer? Did you ever see strange people, aliens? Let's make it real clear. Did you ever see anything where you said, "Hey, that's not a plane. That's something from someplace else"?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about it. We're making headway now.
Well,
what did you see?
Well, I saw something at my parents' place in New Hampshire where there was like nobody around.
Well, what did you see? Tell me what you saw.
It was like a drive-in. It was bigger than a drive-in movie screen.
Okay, and what did it do?
That's when my mind is like now blank, because it was.
Wait a minute. You're in New Hampshire and you see the size of a drive-in screen. Was the screen in the sky? Was it on the ground? Was it moving?
Well,
what did it look like?
It was like maybe a quarter mile, half a mile away, and it was very bright. And I was standing up. And
was it moving? Was it in the sky? What was it doing?
No.
What was it doing?
There.
It was just there. In the sky, on the ground. Tell me where it was just there.
Well, if you are in a field and there's something about a quarter mile away, it would have been like maybe 400, 500 feet above the land.
Uh-huh.
And it was very bright, and I was standing in the house. And
was
I
it
don't
rectangular?
remember.
Was it spherical? Was it?
No. It was just very bright. But then the other one, when I was on the.
Wait. I'm sorry. You've got to help me with this. Maybe it's the trial lawyer. The jury wants to know, what did it look like? You said it was bright. What was bright? Was it a square? Did it move? Did it hover? Did it blink? Did it flash? What color was the light? What was it? Did it scare you? You know, those kind of conditions. Bobby, listen, I thank you so much. Have a great, great day. You know, sometimes it's not Bobby's fault. Let me see if I can explain this to you. When you see something and you're trying to convey the idea to somebody, we want to know, why did you think this was something from elsewhere? Sometimes we can see something like, oh, that's interesting. It's an anomaly. People always attribute it to Venus, swamp gas. I still don't even know where the swamp is and why it has gas. A weather balloon. Remember during the time, which we never talk about, the drones at night. We just forgot about that. There are people who've seen things. Now, I don't know if I could ever say I've seen, but what I'm asking you is, and what we're talking about, in view of the subject matter disclosure, is, did you see anything? Let's really make it easy. Were you abducted? Did you see them? Did they land? There's something, very few people can say that. Some people saw a light. Some people may have seen this. Some people may have seen, especially pilots, more than anybody, are sworn to secrecy. Don't say anything. That's what I want to know. Pamela in New Jersey. Pamela, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Good morning. My parents were part of the witnesses of a very famous sighting, which you probably know about. It's not talked about a lot because people aren't interested in East Coast UFOs. They seem to only be interested in the Southwest. But it's called the Wanacue Reservoir sighting. And it encompasses like 3 or 4 towns, Wanacue, Pumpkin Lakes, Riverdale. They were on their way home, and we lived up there at the time. And along with everybody else along the River Road, Post Lane, if you're familiar with the place, everybody stopped, got out of their car, and saw an oval-shaped, pulsating, white and blue object hovering over the river. And then there was another sighting by the dam. There's a dam in the wooded area. They were not part of that sighting. But it was also seen hovering over the reservoir. They were not part of that sighting. They were part of more the Riverdale side, where they saw this pulsating object going over the river. Now, as time has gone on, I have thought about this, and this is my theory. Picatinny Research Military Center is up there, not too far. And they have a research center, and I think this was the predecessor to the drone. And they were just experimenting with it that night. Now, the mayor is witnesses to it. The mayor's son, I believe, police officers chased it along the Pumpkin Mountains. Some say that it landed on the dam in the wooded area up there, and there was a beam of light. Now, that could have been lasers. They were experimenting with something. Right. So I think there's a perfectly logical explanation to this, because governmental experiments always precede us by 50 to 60 years. And I agree with you.
Now, I've got an even easier. By the way, I've got an even easier one for you. Code, Mr. Lee. And that would be, it was an extraterrestrial craft from another planet, another system, it was a UAP. It was exactly what people would hope it would be. And what you've done is you've given a completely plausible alternative theory that calls into account more, familiar things. military investigation, lasers, precursors, that sort of thing too. So, and that's good. Isn't it funny that you people always want to say, well, the reason for that is, well, obviously it's, and I'm not in any way mocking you. I love the way you think, but an equally rational way of thinking would be, no, it was something supernatural. It was not an investigation. It was not some precursor, something that got out. Now, I will tell you that one time years ago, being in Florida, as I called it, in Tampa, near MacDill Air Force Base, which is now Central Command, there was the first time we ever saw what appeared to be, right before it was released, one of these stealth bombers. If you've never seen this before, and you are not made aware of it, it's shocking. If you've never seen this before, you think, oh my God, that's a flying saucer. It's a wing. So anyway, what did your parents think? What did others think?
Well, my father was a very good mechanic, very logical, but he definitely, he was believable. Unfortunately, somebody wanted to interview them, but they have passed on as a first-hand witness to that. If you look up Weird New Jersey. But my parents believed it was something, and probably on maybe in terms of what I was saying. But they never really... it's funny, we never really talked about it that much. It was just like, oh, yeah, we were part of that. And it was a big deal. It was a very big deal. And later on, my husband delivered up there in a truck, and he spoke to one of the guards that was still alive, and he was describing that night, and Men in Black came, and which kind of is a dead giveaway. And police officers talked about it, all officials. I mean, they were very open about it. And I was, unfortunately that night I was not with them. They were on a date night, and I was a little girl. And I'm so mad that I didn't get to see this, but it was show-stopping. It was absolutely show-stopping. And
now let me ask you, what believeth you? What is your take on this?
Well, I think with the advent of all that shenanigans with the hurricanes down the southeast coast, and then the drones at the same time during election time, I'm kind of really like being more logical. I mean, I'm open to anything. I'm open to spiritual things and to, ghosty matters or whatever. But I really think there's a logical reasoning to this. And one day a stealth bomber did fly over central New Jersey, and you're right, it was a showstopper. And anybody, of course, we knew at that point what they were. At that point, my neighbor was like, look at that. It was a big black triangle. And I tell you, if you first see that, you're going to wonder. And I do agree with you about Spielberg. Interesting how Spielberg's timing is right. He's like Roddenberry with the Star Trek. He's got the inside. I think but he's used as a, by the way, so was Capra, you realize that the CIA was responsible. Remember when MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art and Art, a lot of this was funded by CIA initially as an antidote to this uncultured, the Russians who didn't appreciate, they always had their Bolshoi, they always pushed that to show how cultured they were. Disney, Fantasia, all of that government-sponsored, always. But let me go back to this one thing. You say that there has to be a reason for this. There has to be an explanation, and that's somehow more logical. I'll give you an example, an analogy. You and I are physicians. We see a patient, and there's been a spontaneous either remission or cure of cancer. And we look at each other and we say, now how in the hell did that happen? You say, well, it could have been a couple of things. Number one, we might have misdiagnosed it. It might not have been stage 4. It might have been something else. There might have been some other factor to it. And then I say, or it could be a miracle. Now, I, for some reason, as a physician, am laughed at. You basically told me nothing in your hypothesis. It just sounds more secular. It sounds like, well, you told me nothing. You just created a fantasy, hypothetically, of how, well, the reason for this.
and it's considered more scientific than mine. What I'm telling you is that your parents could have said, we have been visited by angels. And believe it or not, the Vatican astronomer always considers these to be almost angel-like, angelic. They have spoken as to this. Isn't it funny how logic dissuades us from appreciating the fact that this could be exactly... To me, there is nothing miraculous about extraterrestrial flight. There's nothing at all about it. That's the first thing I would go to. It doesn't... it's not magic. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, another factor with the drones over New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Sounds like an old-time movie. In that period, it's interesting how Route 80 next to Route 15, where the military center is and caves are, and maybe that's where they're keeping the drones. Interesting how the highway caved in after that. Interesting. Oh, and it was mine shafts. I'm sure there's mine shafts there, but I think
what you're doing here is right. You're very good about that. You love to find connections. There was a movie, or it was a show years ago on PBS called Connections with James. I don't know what this fellow had these kind of British glasses. Let me give you another one, which reminds me of this. Phoenix Light. Phoenix Lights were absolutely documented. This is March the 13th, 1997 in Phoenix. You could see pictures left and right. Thousands of people reported lights in a large V formation across the sky. I mean, it was huge. Fife Symington, who I believe the governor was at the time. Later that night, there was another stationary light appeared in Phoenix. The event became one of the most famous UFO sightings in U.S. history. The U.S. The military later on said that the stationary lights were, by the way, most likely illumination flares. And they said, no, illumination flares don't move like this across. They don't fly. A flare hangs in the sky and then slowly drifts to the ground. They said that there was the Barry Goldwater Range. So what happened was at the time, people came forward, and the military always comes out and always gives you this ridiculous version of what happened. And it's always, again, flares. It was a misunderstanding. Thousands of people? No. There was another one, another important night during it was in Los Angeles. They saw something, and the military opened up with thousands, or hundreds at least, rounds of machine guns. They thought it was maybe the Japanese. There are so many instances where I would say...
the battle over L.A.
Yes. And D.C., and it goes on and on and on. Now,
well, the triangle is a very common military shape and flight shape. So, who knows? That could have been a satellite being sent up or rotating throughout the earth. And we're just left to sit here like a bunch of goons and say, oh, what's that?
Let me ask you something. I have never in my life seen military craft flying in a V at night with lights that go off and on, or a light that appears to be in an orb, disappears, and then breaks into two, and then three, and then disappears, or flies off instantaneously. There is the famous, go on YouTube, look at this, thank God for YouTube. It was Fox News even covered it. It was the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, all right? And there was an orb that came down, almost like somebody was lowering, like the Times Square ball, so to speak. But it was kind of glowing. It was spherical, and it kind of lowered, and then it all of a sudden took off at a speed that if you blinked or if it just was not normal. Now, this was on TV. This is live. It's right there. In Chelsea or above Chelsea here in New York, they have pictures. Everybody took out their cameras. They saw lights going off and on and during the day. And so anyway, what I don't necessarily, I'm not saying this is from another planet, But I do not necessarily have to explain how this is obviously a type of day. Maybe I'm tired. They always come up with this. I'm tired. I don't necessarily want to believe that, but in the realm of possibilities, I think there is most probably and most assuredly a series of craft appearances. And by the way, one more thing, not to belabor the point. If I sat down with you and I said, now, Pamela, listen, you're not going to believe this, but I have an extraterrestrial cat here. I want you to listen to him. And he sits there and he'll say, why do you think we're in a craft? Well, that's the way you think. We might be in an energy system. Somebody suggested it's almost like an energy field, like plasma. Why do you think it's a craft? Why do you think we're inside? You think we're seat belted in? We're at the instrument panel? See, because we always think the way we do. And I love the way they say, well, and it made no noise. There was no sound of propulsion. The critter would say, why would there be sound? That's what you do. You burn fuel. We use anti-gravitic time-space manipulation. We dimple and indent the space. We don't fly, we fall. Our movement is acceleration, but the way you fall. And they would look at you and you would say, what are you talking about? And also, if you met one of these, another thing I found great fault with, not to spoil it, I do not believe that there's been evidence of these things talking, making noises, having a voice box. Somebody suggested years ago that one of the reasons why these mouths seem so almost invisible is that talking doesn't make any sense, and that they don't eat the way we do. They power their systems through photosynthesis, that kind of a system. They don't have to ingest food. That's so pedestrian. Eat, elimination? No. So anyway, I think, not that I believe it, but I err necessarily on the side of perhaps the phantasmagoric versus the military. Pamela, it's always a pleasure. You're one of the best callers. I thank you immensely. Let me go quickly. Let's go to, let me see who else. Let's go to, oh my God, let me see something. Let's go to Rick in New Jersey. Rick, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Good morning, Lionel. Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're talking about the UFOs, and I used to live out in the high desert in Inyo County, California, and it was a whole UFO hotspot. I would literally sit in my backyard with my dog and watch them fly back and forth against the mountains every night. It was part of my entertainment.
What did you see? Describe it as best you can.
Okay. The classic saucer shape, two saucers on top of each other, one on top of each other, that shape, glowing.
Right.
And I have a theory about why they glow, because people say if they're so advanced, why can't they go stealthy? Well, I think it has to do with the propulsion system in our atmosphere. They can't get away from that. Okay? Up in space, you never hear about...
I've heard it say it was almost plasma. It's plasma.
Right.
And by the way, one of the reasons why they wobble when you see them lower is that interference with either I don't know what the particular term is, gravity or whatever, but they'll wobble. Did you know that a flying saucer, it is believed, when it flies in space, turns on its side and travels that way?
Yeah, and they don't glow. That's why I think it has to do something with our atmosphere.
Indeed.
But Lionel, it's ingrained in the community there. What really blew my mind as much as the saucers was the way the townspeople took it. I asked the sheriff once, what are these things I'm looking at? He goes, oh, this saucers. Don't try to catch them. You can never catch them. I said, what do you mean this? He goes, yeah, we've been trying to catch them for decades. Just don't bother. And then he had to take off on an emergency thing and leave me. And then one time And then one time I was up in the little cafe. I live in a town of 4. The cafe up had 100, so I went up there to eat.
And, a town of 4?
Yeah, well, 5 when I moved in. I tried to get my dog made as a 6th resident, but they wouldn't do it. But,
very good.
Yeah, and so I asked these teenagers there, what do you guys do on a Saturday night? It's a town of 100. What do you kids do? He goes, oh, we drink beer, watch saucers. drink beer, make out with our girlfriends, and watch the saucers land.
Yeah.
Excuse me? I said, excuse me? Yeah, like our daddies did. We go up on the lovers lane there and make out, drink beer, and watch the saucers land. It was just part of their ingrained. It blew my mind more that how matter-of-factly they just took it than the actual saucers. It was.
Now, let me stop you right there. This I think belies, or this refutes, I should say, this notion that, well, the reason why we can't disclose this is people will run into the street. They'll be horrified. No, they won't.
No.
Nothing bothers us. The only time we run into the street is if there's a Knicks title or something like that and we want to turn over a bus. But we don't, nothing really bothers us. I think we're under so much psych meds and antidepressants that we just gave up that emotion years ago. Don't you believe that there is at least one, but that there is another system, whether it's a planet, I don't know, a star, but there is something other than Earth-like, something that is our terra firma, our Earth-related, that has its own sense of presence, its own sense of propulsion, its own sense of worth. It's just there. And I don't know why he doesn't want to get out and talk with us. I don't care about that. But for anybody to suggest that this is something other than what it is, I think is preposterous. We are not alone. They are here constantly in some form or another. Agree or disagree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the military, they are not ours. The military is researching them because they rented the ranch right next to mine. Our ranch was 17,000 acres. And
wow.
Yeah, homesteaded. So they didn't have to pay for it. And they rented the kind of like the Skinwalker Ranch. They rented the ranch next to us. Oh, I'd see military trucks coming in and out all the time. Never said what kind of military. Just said U.S. military. Never said Army.
Indeed. Yes. I like that, kind of like a generic, like Roadrunner.
Yeah, generic green truck. And
listen. Yes, sir. Quickly, sir.
Well, yeah. They were out there researching because they saw them too.
Rick, I thank you. I must run. The clock is my enemy. I thank you. See, that is what I want to hear. I love that. I want to hear what you saw, and don't refute it. Tell me exactly why you think it is exactly what it was. Something from elsewhere. That's all, because we are definitely not alone. This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
It's 1938. The 2-week pay period is invented. But then the world got faster. Faster travel, faster delivery, faster everything. Except our pay. Until now, with Daily Pay, everyone can access money they've earned when they need it. Yes, this is the future of pay. Daily Pay. Work with the leader in on-demand pay at dailypay.com. Transfer fee may apply.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Hello, I'm Max Rushton. The World Cup is back and Football Weekly is going daily. If you want award-winning soccer coverage from a podcast that's been overanalyzing the game for more than 20 years and still hasn't run out of opinions or just repeats the same ones over and over again, this is where you'll find it. We'll be producing 33 daily episodes across the tournament, breaking down all the action, the results, and of course, the drama. Can the US make it out of the group stage and into the spotlight on the biggest stage? World Cup Daily. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch full episodes on YouTube.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
You ready, Lionel, with you? 800-848-9222. One of the things which this movie Disclosure, which my wife and I saw yesterday, I guess, which I didn't think it was that good. I thought that the script was just really poor, but they paid a little kind of a short shrift reference to what you call crop circles. Absolutely, positively, 100%. Have you ever seen them appear? And people have said, oh, that's a couple of drunk guys out with a board and a plank in there. Yeah, really? Okay. So have you ever seen how big these are? And they can be seen from the sky, and they are so symmetrical, so perfect, so beautiful. Let's say that Bill and Jackson and I, one night we get a load on and we go out to a wheat field or something that, something where there's grass. And I say, all right, here's the basic design of this thing. Now, Jackson, you get that board. And Bill, you put that on your feet. I want you to make circles. And I want you to understand you can't see where you're going. You can't rise above this. Maybe you can now with a drone, but you sure couldn't do this before. And I want this to be absolutely, positively, perfectly proportionate. I want you to do a series of circles, a series of them interconnected. And I want to make each circle exactly the same size. Can you do that with a board? Good. Good luck. Now, when I see something and I say, no, wait a minute, there's something not right here. I don't know if this is from another planet. Could it be an energy, a life form? I don't know. Could these people, these things that we call from another planet, could they live here in our oceans, underground? I don't know. I don't have to tell you that. It's like whenever somebody tells you, whenever you dispute, I've told you this repeatedly, there are some official narratives of 9/11 I don't believe make sense. And so somebody will then say, well, what do you think happened? I say, excuse me, this is your story, not mine. I don't have to explain anything. You came to me with this story. And if I don't believe it, you figure out something. I don't have to come up with a reason why. Well, do you know how far it would take for somebody to travel? Who says they travel? Who says they get up in the morning, kiss their wife goodbye, get into their craft, and fly at near the speed of light? Why are you creating this? This is their story. They're here. I don't have to tell you where they're from, how they got here. They're here. You figure that out. I don't have to do this. We have more to talk about. This is so good. And also, what was your favorite kind of UFO movie? For me, hands down, Close Encounters, simply the best. And that's when Spielberg was really connected. You know what I mean? I mean, really connected. 800-848-9222. More coming up on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Thanks, yours too.
What does RAV stand for anyway?
To me, it's the Remarkably Advanced Vehicle.
Really? To me, it's the Runway Approved Vehicle for its amazing style.
What about Remarkably Adaptable Vehicle because of its versatile cargo space?
Or Really Admired Vehicle?
Oh, or Really Awesome Vehicle.
It really is the Recreational Activity Vehicle. The stylish 2026 Toyota RAV4 Limited. What's your RAV4?
Youth sports families and fans, huddle up. Wherever life takes you, Game Changer keeps you connected. Stream games live in full HD when you can't be there. Get play-by-play updates right on your phone. And share game highlights with everyone. Full bragging rights included. Live the game like never before with Game Changer. Create your free account today at gc.com.
Whether it's a movie night or just midday, Skinny Pop is a salty snack that keeps on giving. Made with just 3 simple ingredients for an irresistibly delicious taste and a large serving size that lasts. Deliciously popped, perfectly salted. Skinny Pop, popular for a reason. Shop Skinny Pop now.
If you're a QuickBooks customer looking to grow without the growing pains, you need the Intuit ERP, the AI native ERP that upgrades right from QuickBooks. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Ay, niña morena,
Hey, Lionel with you. Back again. You know, I think the aliens might be having something to do with us. You know, you might laugh, my friends, but I think there's something to be said for that. Every now and then, the gremlins are such where we say, wait a minute, what's going on here? In any event, 800-848-9222. Do not let this bother you. We are professionals. We know what we are doing. As I was saying before, dear friends, I have loved this story, and we'll always talk about it because I do not believe, whenever I am asked this idea, do you believe? I don't know what I'm necessarily going to believe in. But I have no reason not to believe something. Believe, to me, I guess people need proof of something beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. I don't need that. I know in my heart of hearts that sometimes I believe in circumstantial evidence. And sometimes we as a jury, because after all, life is a courtroom, we as a jury are able to say, you know what, you didn't give me necessarily a picture of the guy committing the murder. You didn't give me a picture of the person standing over the body. But there's enough circumstantial evidence here. Footprints, eyewitness testimony, confessions. I think there's something to this. And what people don't understand is that, and I don't want to bring this into it because I'm very, very careful, because religion is a very, very special thing. And I in no way want to in any way mock or suggest anything. But what people allow themselves, what people believe, and what they allow themselves to believe is absolutely considered normal based upon, I'm sorry to say, perhaps maybe a personal feeling, folklore in some cases, reference, mythology. Again, I'm not suggesting there is no God, but what I'm saying is people have absolutely no problems whatsoever believing in a system of God, which is completely fine, based upon nothing other than what's in their heart. But you mean to tell me, let me get this straight, you mean to tell me that I can see things flying around, landing, I'm sorry, landing, sometimes getting out, sometimes talking to us, and you mean to tell me that there's nothing there, that there's nothing at all there, that it's just ridiculous, that it's a waste of time? Do you mean to tell me that I'm supposed to just dismiss it? No. Sorry. It doesn't work like that. I think there's something that we see, and all of us have known this from the beginning of time. I don't want to be too mythical, too magical, but I will do this. The thing which is the most fascinating to me, probably out of all of the human emotions and human experiences, that is this thing called love. I'm not trying to be corny here, but people have lost their minds over love, over what they believe to be the appearance, the belief of love. And what is that? Does that exist? It does in your heart. It does in your mind. It does kind of sort of in your belief system. But is it real? Yes. Good. Measure it. Tell me where it is. Tell me where it exists in the real world. Good luck. And if it exists, and if I can acknowledge love, and if I can believe in something like it, then I can sure as heck believe in something that has landed on this planet and talked to people and communicated with people since the beginning of time. My friends, this is the most important thing in the world. And what we have to do is to recognize that while we are doing the best that we can to try to make sense out of the world, don't overlook the obvious. Now, this movie, the reason why I'm saying this, Disclosure Day, hit the movie theaters. And while please go see it, you may get something out of it. I think the script was poor. It wasn't Spielberg at his best. The casting was wrong. The story was wrong. And it was written, I think, by somebody who really didn't understand kind of how things work. And I think there is this tendency for people to make things sound magical, mystical, and there's no reason for that. Sometimes these things, I think, when they speak to us eventually, they're going to be as matter of fact as anything. They're just going to be there, and they're not going to impart in us the ability to speak German all of a sudden, or to have us levitate, or to glow, or to cure disease. I think that's kind of our natural tendency, this love that we have of folklore and this love that we have of the mysterious, to kind of fill in the blanks. So what I'm saying is, it's a great, great movie, but it's a great, great subject, and God, I have loved this forever. And I still believe, as I had mentioned before, the best movie, bar none, the best film, the best depiction, as far as I'm concerned, which has Truffaut of all things in it, is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think that is the best. I love the way they are, in essence, motivated, lured, pulled by something that they don't even know why they're doing it. They don't know why they're doing it.
And the good news is, Mr. Lee, I believe we are ready to go, and I'm going to continue with this right now. If you don't mind, we're going to continue with this. I think the aliens have granted us a reprieve from this. Our number is 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Our last caller would say they are hoovering. They are hoovering around us. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Roberta in Brooklyn. Roberta, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Okay, Lionel. So you're talking about UFOs and all those things, and I've been listening to you for years. I am goddamn 85 years old, and I was just about to go back to sleep because I'm tired of the UFOs, and then something wonderful happened on your show, and I need you to tell me something. You played your opening jingle or song that says Lionel, Lionel, Lionel over and over, and I absolutely love it. I've been wanting to hear the whole thing for years. What is the name of that song? And
the song is called Niña Morena by the Gypsy Kings, and it's our new thing now, which I've talked to Bill Lee about. We're going to be playing our theme between 5 and 6 minutes to give people... In fact, we might play the whole CD, but I thank you for that. Yes.
I think maybe you had technical problems that made you keep doing it. But
nothing gets by you, my dear.
Morena.
Nothing gets by you. I thank you so much. I like that. It's great when somebody calls up and says, I was getting sick and tired of this UFO talk. I was getting sick and tired of this. But then I heard this song. I love honesty. Honesty's a good thing. Ed in Indiana. Ed, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel. I was thinking about Father's Day and celebrating Dad's Day as an aside, but I wanted to call about what we believe in, and I hope we haven't done it too our finality, and about things we believe in. And as a mass on our dollar bills printed, "In God We Trust."
Mm-hmm.
And why is that on the bill? And the separation of church and state, and that's on the bill. And they made a movie, like a conclusion of a movie was about that. And
may I ask you a very simple question, not to be rude? Have you ever researched that?
No, I haven't. But I've been doing a lot of Bible studying.
Let me ask you a very simple question. And again, not in any way to be rude, but if this is something that's bothered you, if this is something that's made you say, wait a minute, why do we do this? Do you think maybe it might be a good idea to, I don't know, research it? Kind of look at it and say, I wonder why that is. And I'm curious why you haven't. Again, I'm not trying to point fingers, because the evidence, there's so much evidence and so much history as to why we do that. Why do you think that's so?
I think we do that because we feel and we realize that, and it doesn't bother me. I express and I embrace that's something that we do. I do believe in, and
no. That's
right.
The issue is not whether you are bothered by it. The issue is, why do you think that we have this on our coinage, and when did we add this to our coinage, and what was the purpose of that? I mean, it doesn't really bother anybody, really. I think we're just kind of used to it. We don't even notice it. Who looks at coins? Who's going to have coins in the future? But the idea was right around the 50s, the reason why, if you want to know, the reason for this was because of the fact that we were trying to show those heathen Ruskies that we believed in something other than what they did. And it was a push by the Knights of Columbus that pushed this, and others as well, to add it to. We also added "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance, right around the 50s. This was not in the original form of it. That was added later on. And it was done perhaps symbolically to let the world know, at the time of the height of the Cold War, that this is who we were. That's why. Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah, okay.
What do you mean by separation of church and state? Is that a law anywhere?
I don't know, but I was teaching a class, and I told them there's two reasons why we're here, why we exist, and I can talk about one of them, but be wary that there's another one. There's creationism and there's evolution. I said I cannot talk about creationism, but I will be talking about evolution. And
why can you not talk about creationism?
Because it's a thought, and it's a theory, and it may be proven through certain things that people ignore or do not want to listen to. But the state.
What do you believe?
What personal belief?
Yes. What do you believe?
There's something. We don't say in Baal we trust.
No. Do you believe in creationism?
I believe in. I believe in a little bit of both.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
When does one kick in and when does one not? What do you mean?
The primary, of course, I believe, is creationism. The other one kicks in, as so to speak, as you say, upon various things, environment, nutrition, many things. The world.
Have you studied this much?
Have I studied? I've studied a lot of things, Lionel.
No. Have you studied this subject much?
I've taken a course on.
No, you don't have to take a course. You do know that right now, and again, I'm not trying to be rude. Yeah. Through the marvels of ChatGPT and other forms of AI, which can scrape the entire universe of information, there are movements afoot right now. There are people who believe very, very strongly that Darwinian mechanics may make sense for little things. The curve of a beak of a finch or plumage or something along those lines. But when you look at the Cambrian explosion, there are some things if you look at the paleontological record, that none of this makes, it doesn't work. The idea of evolution, it would take too long. Sometimes there are things that happen so quickly, so explosively that the best way of explaining this is indeed this notion, this thing called creationism, intelligent design. I can't tell you enough. You cannot sit back, and again, I'm not being rude here, but you cannot sit back and just muse and just say, gee, I wonder, I think. No, investigate. Read the great words. There is an explosion right now going on. In fact, there are Darwinian theorists who cannot stand the notion that there may, in fact, be something to this thing called creationism. So I thank you for your call, please. But listen, do me a favor, everyone listening to me, please research this. Don't sit back and think, I don't know. Go and pick up any AI program. It doesn't really matter. And to even call it AI, whether it's ChatGPT or ChatGPT or what have you. Perplexity, Claude, it doesn't matter. And just ask, what is the evidence, for example, of UFOs? What is the evidence of this? Why do we have In God We Trust? What is the famous letter from Jefferson, who used and coined the term separation of church and state? There is an incuriosity. And by the way, you have to learn how to be an autodidact, how to be self-taught. You have to be fueled by and moved by this thing called this passion that you feel regarding the information. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go to Pat in New Jersey. Pat, you're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Hi, Lionel. Thanks so much for taking the call. And I'm just checking in to let you know that my all-time favorites are the first and second thing. The Thing.
Huh?
The movie that you're asking.
Whoa. The first
and second thing?
The Thing. The movie The Thing.
Okay.
James Arnett.
Tell me
1952.
Why, please.
Because I think as a kid, I think that it was one of the original one that had been made just a couple of years before I was born.
Right.
It came out as not like a Frankenstein or an unbelievable monster movie. It was something to me as a little kid that could actually occur, and it was more scary to me thinking that this is a possibility rather than a fake Hollywood version of a scary monster. And it still holds today. I mean, I still think when you're talking about aliens being here, they don't necessarily have to be, odd shaped or odd acting. They could just look like us. I mean, if they're that intelligent to get here, obviously they could mimic anything. So the fact that aliens can just show up anywhere, and I believe too that they are here already. Why wouldn't they be, right? But that one, just the paranoia in those movies and the darkness of it, and just the characters' unbelievability of this occurrence, and how they started to doubt each other's identity as maybe being the alien, really grabbed me. That's why I like those.
Why does this have to be negative?
Not necessarily negative, but the movies came across that way.
No, I know that, but I'm saying it always goes to show there's this inherent human bias that always makes the aliens either evil, scary, or, but the other thing I'm thinking of is, why are they necessarily benevolent? Let me ask you something. Can you think of any animal, anything that we've ever caught or, I don't know, raised, that we were ever kind to, other than a pet, like a kitten or a dog that we like? But for the most part, we're pretty awful to those things that are subspecies. Would you not agree?
I definitely agree. I don't like it, but I definitely agree. Because I think there's so much more intelligent than we are.
How do we know that? See, that's another thing. Why can't they be
just think that.
But listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Look at how we build all this stuff into it. where we think they must be more intelligent than we are. They must. Why? I mean, what if they're just a little bit more? What if they're just a little bit more better at flying and communicating? I love the way we have these preconceived ideas of things. The way they look, what they want. How about this? Why don't they just go to the White House and speak with President Trump? What? Why would they want to speak with President Trump or Obama or anybody else for that matter? Why? Let me ask you this question. The world right now, our Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, right? 4.5 billion years old. That's 4,500 million years, right? Mm-hmm. So if there was another place that was 4,501 million years old, just a million years more advanced than we are led to believe that from 1903 to was Wright brothers or what have you, and then 1969 was landing on the moon. So in a mere 66 years, we went from the Wright brothers to landing on the moon. Just 66 years. Imagine if somebody had 1 million years on us. 1 million. And what if it said for you, we can travel in ways you haven't even conceived of. You haven't even been able to even understand or grasp the notion of this. I find it fascinating. I love the way we believe things to be the way they are. And also, how do you think they would communicate with us? If they show up, is there a voice? Do they write something down? Do we point to stuff? How do we communicate?
This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
You ready, Lionel, with you? 800-848-9222. You know, I love the notion of religion. I don't want to get into it because people always think we're kind of told, stay away from it. I'm never going to pit one against the other. I'm never saying who's right or who's wrong. I just love the idea of framing everything through the prism of that. And what's interesting to note is that if intelligent and extraterrestrial beings exist, and if they are freely seeking a relationship with God, the church, I don't believe, would not automatically exclude them from the sacrament simply because they're not human. Now, somebody one time told me you have to be from of Adam. You would have to be part of the lineage of Adam, meaning a human, as it were. I don't know. Again, far be it from me to follow the rules. Don't know about that. But also, would originals have original sin? The church really has no teaching on this. Would an alien need salvation at all? They might never have, quote, fallen from grace. And if they did need salvation, then the argument would Christ's incarnation and sacrifice on earth apply universally? Or could God have revealed himself to them in some entirely different way? Again, he says, the questions are what fascinate me more than anything else. Joel in California. You're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Good morning, Mr. Lionel. First and foremost, I would like to say what I'm about to tell you. I sent you the video at comments@wabcradio.com. That way, if you get a chance to check it out, you can. But back in October 9th of 2019, I was out in my patio with my stepdaughter and former wife. We were cleaning the patio up. It was about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and something caught our eyes up in the sky. It looked like a bright white ball, and it had a tail resembling like a bolt of wavy lightning. I took up my phone and I started recording it. I said, holy smokes, what the heck is this? Mm-hmm. And anyhow, I recorded it for about 2 minutes. At first, I thought it may have been a rocket launch, but afterwards I realized had it been a rocket launch from Vandenberg, it would have came from the opposite direction.
Right.
And it really did not look like a rocket launch. So anyhow,
describe it.
It was a bright white ball, like white hot fiery ball with, oh my God, the tail was amazing. My phone did not do the video any justice.
When you say the tail, the light had a tail?
Yeah, it was a bright white hot ball. I mean, it was shining bright, and it had a tail. And mind you, it was not a comet, and it was not a shooting star because I recorded 2 minutes and 6 seconds of it. And anyhow...
Because it's right, but it wasn't moving. Wait a minute, but it wasn't moving. It wasn't.
Yes, sir. It was moving. It was moving like in an upwardly direction.
Okay.
And
how
like
fast?
I said, I've never. It was moving pretty fast. It was moving pretty fast.
When did you lose sight of it? Did it just immediately take off in a flash?
It was the only reason I stopped recording was because I couldn't get really a good focus on it.
No, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you.
Okay.
Did it hover and move slowly up? Did it eventually disappear? Did it fly out? See, I want to know. And by the way, thank you so much for sharing this. But I want to know. Imagine you're in court. Take us there. It hovered. It changed color. It moved left to right. It was wobbly. It was stationary. It moved. It broke into 2 spheres. Then all of a sudden, it went from north or south to north straight up in an instant. Or it flew and came back. It hovered. It changed colors. It moved left to right, right to left. That's what I want to hear. Right.
Yes, sir. It did not change color. It was moving. It was, like I said, from west to east in a upwardly direction. It never changed color.
And did very quickly, did anybody else or are you aware of anybody else who saw that other than you and your immediate family?
As a matter of fact, sir, yes, sir. My stepdaughter was there. My former wife was there.
Other than your immediate family, anything in the newspaper, anything from neighbors, anybody outside of your immediate family?
As a matter of fact, sir, what I wanted to say to you was that a few months later...
you know what? I hate to do this. I thank you for your call.
Please, sir, hear me out.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Alrighty, Alana with you. This is hour number 3, the final hour of this thing of ours on Another Side of Midnight, 800-848-9222. By the way, you can follow me on YouTube at Lionel Nation and on X at Lionel Media. Couple of things. Whenever you are reporting something, whether it's a neighbor, a burglary, a UFO, one thing I want you to remember always to do, and take this from somebody who has been dealing with testimony for a long time. Make sure you always look at your watch. Whenever you see something, just look at your watch, look at your clock, look at your phone. Get an idea of the time. Just that's all. There's nothing like, when did you see it? 4:53. Really? Yep. How do you know? I looked at my watch. Whenever something is of any note, an accident, a noise, just always get into the habit of what time was it? Because the time can be critical. Another thing, too, is I like when people tell the stories in the past, in the present tense. So I'm walking down the street, and I see this guy. I say, excuse me, you're walking down the street? No, you're not. You're right here in front of me. No. So I see this guy. Where? Where's the guy? I don't see him. No. I was. It doesn't really matter. By the by, today, the word, my favorite word, which people use far too often, is literally. And I literally was walking down the street. There's no reason for you to, as opposed to figuratively. Now, what we're talking about is people who were saying this. Let me see if I can paraphrase. On this particular date and time at 4:53 a.m., I noticed something strange in the eastern sky. It's nothing I've ever seen. It wasn't a helicopter. It wasn't a drone. It didn't have colored lights. Nothing blinked. There was no pattern. You can always tell. There's always things floating around, but there's lights that blink. Believe it or not, most UFO craft that we know do not have runway lights or hazard lights. You know, the flashing ball so they don't run into something. It wasn't like anything I ever saw. It hovered, or as some people say, hoovered. It hoovered. It hovered for a while and then took off in a flash, east to west. And it was like it mimicked no aircraft, no helicopter, no plane, no jet. Nothing hovers except a helicopter. Nothing. Or a drone. And when the drone or the helicopter leave and exit, they are not able to take off that fast. And by the way, one of the things people always ask, they say, how could this possibly have someone in it? How can you fly at this particular direction, stop and make a hard right turn without there being damage due to G-forces? Well, who says there's anybody in there? There's another hypothesis that says that they create their own inertial bubble and that they're able to withstand the G-forces by virtue of how it's almost in this protective coating. There was another hypothesis that Philip Corso and other people advanced, whether it's true or not, I kind of like the idea, that when certain of these critters were to be actually locomoting about the space, they would be in a suit, a particular space suit or something, and some type of a wand or a headband or something that went around their head, which acted almost as a guidance system. And they would place their hands into what it would appear to be kind of like recessed, kind of injected, not metal or something, where their hands and their head almost completed a circuit, like a transistor, like a circuit where they thought where this craft goes. The flying saucer, by the way, was, as I think you've heard Kenneth Arnold brought that up, he didn't even say flying saucer. It was like saucers skipping over. The phrase was misused. When you are flying or moving and locomoting about in a non, how should I say this? In your own inertial bubble, using dimpled, what am I trying to say? Dimpled space-time, dimpled or divoted little drops to affect the space-time continuum, so that you are falling. It's almost like an acceleration. As ours, I don't want to gobbledygook this up, but the idea is that they don't travel the way we travel with something behind us pushing us forward. They travel using kind of a non-gravitic fall. They accelerate through falling. In any event, all of this changes the rules completely. And the question you have to ask is, do you know what would happen to the transportation world if per se, we could somehow figure this thing out? If we could figure a way to not you worry about, put it this way, you wouldn't have to worry about the Strait of Hormuz, you wouldn't have to worry about price per barrel of oil or anything. There would be jet fuel, would be a thing of the past. Jet fuel? What jet fuel? What are you talking about? Do you know how it would change everything? Not only that, as you know, Russia has a hypersonic missile and ballistic, a missile system that you just cannot see. You've got to see this. It's like watching a peregrine falcon hit something in midair. You if you blink, you'll miss it. What if this form of propulsion blows that away? Now, let me do this. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Barry. Barry was finishing up his story, and I wanted to give him all the time in the world. Barry, are you still there, sir? Was I talking to Barry? Oh, I'm sorry, Joel. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Joel. I'm sorry, Joel. Yes. I'm sorry. I completely forgot.
So yes, sir. You were asking me if anyone else saw this. Let me say this: that this particular sighting made it in a UFO show. I wish I could recall which UFO show it was, but about
a UFO show.
Yes, sir. You know, one of these UFO specials. I cannot recall the name. I had it on
TV,
DVR.
on YouTube, a group, a meeting.
On TV,
okay.
TV, sir. Yeah, on TV. There was a couple of tourists. I live near Joshua Tree National Park, so we have a lot of tourists.
Okay.
So a couple of tourists was going down the local road.
Right.
They saw the same thing I saw. They pulled over to the side, and they recorded the sighting. They recorded what I saw, and it made the TV show. I wish I could recall which show it was.
Doesn't matter. So let's wrap this up. The bottom line is, in conclusion, what did we learn? What's your takeaway? What can we learn from what you saw?
Well, I believe there's unidentified flying objects out there, and the government.
Well, stop for a second.
Little kids.
It was flying. You don't know what it was. When you say unidentified flying object, you mean intelligent life that's responsible for this craft moving. You don't. That's what you mean. You mean an alien craft. You don't mean a UFO. You mean there is something from someplace else that was driving this. That this wasn't just an object that you couldn't identify.
That is something, the way I look at it, something that is not ours.
Okay.
That's the only way I can.
And have you ever told anybody this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've told my friends about it. I've showed my friends the videos.
What do they say?
They're like, wow, they can't believe it.
But what do they think it is?
Well, I have some friends who think, well, it's a meteor. I go, well, if it was a meteor, I don't think California would be standing here right now because that
No. Wait a minute. First of all, if it was a meteor doesn't act like this. A meteor doesn't either hover, sit. Anyway, Joel, I thank you. I must run. I thank you so very much. I'm not trying to be too persnickety, but I sort of want a little more. You see, there are people who are never going to believe anything. There are other people who never not believe. Not only do they believe it's from another planet or another solar system or never whatever, they believe it's there to give us guidance. They go a little bit in the opposite direction. It's all a matter of perspective. Now, let me go to Steve in Tennessee. Steve, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel, I'll give you a good laugh. You know, back about 4 or 5 callers ago, somebody said they saw whatever it was, hoovering.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I heard.
You think they might
referenced
have seen a flying vacuum cleaner?
You know, Steve, you have a wit that is dangerous. Please don't ever abuse it. Now, what are your thoughts, sir?
Well, I don't know what to think. You know, it's something else. If there is aliens and they're not of our species, we obviously can't use the terms holy smoke or holy Toledo or holy cow.
Why?
Because they're not holy.
But we can't use them now anyway because a cow is not holy and Toledo's not holy. We can't use that phrase now. So why would anything be different?
Well, I guess it wouldn't be, but you heard it.
All right, Steve. Thank you so much. Have a great night, sir. I appreciate that. Don't know where that one went, ladies and gentlemen, but it had a lot of promise to it. Now, Barry in New York. Barry, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Yes. Hi, Lionel. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes,
it's a real
sir.
pleasure to be on your show. I just wanted to tell you that many years ago, I was 28 years of age, and I was going home from Manhattan in the evening. It was a Sunday night. The weather was frigid cold. It must have been close to 0 in the wind chill factor. And I was heading to the subway. I had about several blocks to walk because there were no taxis available. In fact, I recall there was nobody on the street. I was walking on the Avenue of the Americas, heading towards 57th Street, and I was by the ABC Broadcasting Building at the time. That I looked up in the sky because there was a very heavy overcast, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, but gee, it's going to be another bad day because we had several days of intermittent rain. It was very cold. And just before my eyes could gravitate back to the street level, I see a light coming through the heavy overcast, which I thought initially was a helicopter of some sort. And what turned out to be this huge cylindrical object that was as big as a football field. It was the clarity was amazing. And it was a few hundred feet, very in close proximity above the ABC Broadcasting Building. This thing was humongous, and you could actually see the entire shape of it. It had a dome on the top. The bottom was all dark, but around the sides, you could see...
Was it a cigar-shaped?
No, it was definitely cylindrical. It was actually a saucer, but as big as a football field.
So it was a saucer, not a cylinder. So it was a saucer as big as a football field. Did anybody around you see this? This is my dilemma. You know, I quickly scanned the street because I wanted to get a validation from another person who could also attest to the fact that what I was seeing was true. But at that moment in time, there wasn't even a car coming down the street. There wasn't another pedestrian. But I couldn't tear my eyes away from this thing that I was looking at because I knew this was something so extraordinary that the chances are my seeing something like this ever again would probably never occur. So I'm looking at this, and it's spinning. It was on a 45-degree angle, and you could see the lights that came out of these windows. You could see slits like that made windows. They were square, but they circled the entire midsection of this saucer-shaped object, and it looked like LED lights. They were brilliant white light. And as I'm looking at this, it's slow, and it didn't make a sound, by the way. And as it slowly, I'm sorry. No, let me put you on hold. I don't want to cut you off. I want to give you the time to explain this. But the clock, I must take this interruption. This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. June is Black Music Month. We don't just celebrate music, we feel it.
Now here's a man who took funk music into another galaxy. George Clinton. With Parliament and Funkadelic, Clinton blended soul, rock, psychedelia, and pure imagination into a sound that shook American music to the core. Bow, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yay, bow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yay. Wild costumes, cosmic themes, infectious grooves. This wasn't just music, it was an experience. Songs like Flashlight and One Nation Under a Groove became anthems of liberation and celebration. But beneath the spectacle was serious innovation. George Clinton helped lay the foundation for hip-hop sampling and modern funk production. From Detroit barbershops to world stages, he built a musical universe all his own, and folks, the mothership is still flying.
Celebrating Black Music Month.
We are the nation's largest integrated healthcare system, providing life-changing care to over 9 million veterans.
Our hands are busy, competent, skilled, healing, helping, and friendly. A place where diverse teams come together hand in hand to provide full patient-centered care. Working in state-of-the-art facilities with influential...
This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Right, my friend Lionel with you, 800-848-9222. You know, one time I was speaking with a dear friend of ours. Her name is May Pang. And May Pang was living with her beau, I guess at the time you might want to say, John Lennon, on the East Side. I think they were maybe around, I don't know where it was exactly, but it was August the 23rd of 1974. They were on their terrace, and John Lennon and his partner May Pang saw a silent, saucer-like craft with flashing white lights and a bright red kind of a top drift down the East River. She showed me the picture that he drew, and this, by the way, is very interesting. This is in terms of the rules of evidence, this is a contemporaneous drawing or memorization or a contemporaneous reference that can be used later on as an exception to the hearsay rule, where you took it down, you drew this as it was occurring. And she saw it, I believe her. He saw it, I believe him through her. And this is the case of thousands of people. And what I gotta, this is what drives me nuts. And admittedly, it's not a very long ride. There's just somebody says, but why would they want to just hoover, as someone would say? Why would they want to do this? I say, don't question the intent, the motivation. I don't know why. That doesn't invalidate what I saw just because you can't figure out why. So let me finish up with Barry in New Jersey. Barry, you were going to make a very important point, and I want to give you time to wrap it up, sir.
Yes, well, excuse me, when I saw this, when I was witness to this sighting,
right?
I remember, at the time I was a motion picture lab technician and I worked the night shift. When I had returned to work on a Monday night, which was the beginning of my week, I related this to my coworkers, and I just to let you know how naive I was. I never thought that I would be opening up the door to be the object of ridicule. I mean, nobody believed me, and I was so anxious to share my story with people who were I was close to. They were my friends, coworkers, whatever. And I just couldn't believe the feedback I was getting, and I really regretted having said anything at all.
Exactly. Isn't that something? And here they are, Barry. They work with you. You've never exhibited any kind of moment of hallucinations. You don't walk in. You've never walked in and said, hey, I saw Lancelot and King Arthur. You never saw that. You never said that. And never. For you to be able to describe where you were, as I told somebody, when it was the time, the temperature above the ABC building, I believe everything you said. Now, I may not be able to tell you who, what, when, where, why. Was it military? I don't know anything about that. But I appreciate, Barry, your call, and I thank you, sir. You got to keep in mind, be very careful. As a friend of mine one time said, pilots are basically told, don't even think about this. You will not be cleared to be able to transport souls, as they're called. Let's go to Akron in New Jersey. You're on the other side of midnight. You're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Yeah, you've always had difficulty in, analyzing the other side of midnight and another side of midnight. That's difficult, yeah. But anyway, you are still a very entertaining person, but
I'm still entertaining, even though another and the other sometimes confound me, but I'm still entertaining, and I appreciate that.
Yes, And one of the things that I want to draw to your attention is the danger of white supremacy, especially as
what the hell does that have to do with this?
It's about religion, sir. It's about
Wait a minute.
religion.
What is white supremacy?
If you be a little patient, you might learn something. But again, white supremacy is...
Okay, doing it again. What do you mean again? Make your case. Go ahead.
White supremacy believes in what they believe, and nobody could teach the white supremacists anything.
Wait a minute. This is gibberish. White supremacy believes in what they believe. What does that mean, sir? What is white supremacy? Define it.
It means that that mentality teaches that God, the creator of the universe, impregnated a man's wife.
That's white supremacy?
Well, let me say what I'm saying.
No. Do you think that black people believe in the message of Christianity? Are they white supremacists as well?
Of course, they are victims. Like you have the American Negro.
Victims.
Like you have the American Negro Dominic Carter.
So you're saying? Wait a minute. Stop a second. You're saying? Listen to me. Stop for a minute. You're saying that people who believe in Christianity, that they are victims of or believe in white supremacy?
Yes, because God impregnated a man's wife.
No, you're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself. You're still not able to explain why this is white supremacy versus, let's say, being just erroneous. Let me ask you for the third or fourth time.
That's exactly the white supremacy. You will not.
You're doing it again now for the fifth time. You're just saying white supremacy. If I say that ketchup is white supremacy and I just keep repeating it, tell me why Christianity is white supremacy for the sixth time.
God had a white baby. You know the pictures that.
Let me ask you again. Let me try this again. Where do you think Christ was allegedly, or you probably don't believe this? Where was Christ born?
Well, not you. Afraid of the truth. There you go.
No, let me try this again. Where was Christ, the white baby? Where was Christ born?
I'm talking about the images that you teach.
No, we're talking about you said. No, listen to me. I love toying with people, especially people who are my intellectual inferior. But you've got to at least give me a help here. You said a white baby. You're saying Christ was white?
You never seen the picture of the God that you people...
No, stop with the pictures. Forget 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 the pictures. I've seen a black Santa. I've seen a lot of things. What is the story? What does the Bible say? Where was Christ born? And what does it say as far as Christ's race? Where did you get this?
And this God is God incarnate. That's what you teach. And you teach the world this nonsense, this savagery.
Okay, have a nice day, sir. I appreciate this. Listen, do me a favor. I swear to you, and I mean this with all my heart, if you believe something that is completely contradictory to let's say history, if you believe that George Washington was black, I swear to you, I'll listen to you. But you can't take a premise, you can't say white supremacy and just use it. First of all, it's boring. Number two, it doesn't explain anything. And number three, you might have something to it, but you've got to be able to explain it. That's all. And I can only do it like 6 or 7 times before people say, oh, for the love of God, enough of this stuff. He could be right. Was Jesus white? I think Jesus certainly would have been Semitic. If you look at what people look like, I guess technically they were Caucasoids in the Middle East. I would imagine. I don't know. 800-848. I need that code, Mr. Lee. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. And it's a very difficult thing sometimes for a lot of us to try to, I guess, let me stop for a second. Isn't it fascinating how so many people have such a difficult time putting together at least a working definition of the thesis of what they say. You know, there was a guy years ago, Malcolm X, did this wonderful thing where he would say, and the so-called black man or the so-called Negro, and he meant it not that they weren't black, but it was more as like italics. It was they were only called black vis-a-vis white or whatever it was. Well, anyway, it took off. So people were saying so-called everything, and the so-called police. Well, they are the police. Oh, okay. And the so-called mayor, well, he is a mayor. It just became this word salad, this hamburger helper, just like literally is used by everyone. Let's go to Carl in New Jersey. Carl, you're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Yeah, from time to time I hear people talking about hypersonic missiles.
Uh-huh.
And Ukraine has claimed that they have been attacked by hypersonic missiles.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know where. I really don't see more than that as any proof of their existence.
How much have you ever studied this?
Oh, I just looked. I just Googled it, to tell you the truth.
Have you heard about Russia's Oreshnik intermediate range ballistic missile? It's a hypersonic. It can go Mach 10.
That's what they say.
No, that's what it is.
Has it been used?
You can see this. Huh?
Has it been used?
Yes.
Okay. It's been used, but I've only seen it been used. They say a government Ukraine in a building was shot by one, and an apartment building was shot by one.
Okay, again, I'm sorry. You're saying with the Oreshnik strikes, there have been strikes against the infrastructure in western Ukraine, in Lviv, Dnipro. Then there's the Kinzhai missiles. This is Russia also has routinely fired the Kh-47M2, an air-launched hypersonic ballistic missile to target Ukrainian command and control. So you don't believe this?
Well, I hear about it, but you know.
No, stop for a second. Do you believe the Knicks won the title? Well, I hear about it. Well, do you believe it happened? They say it did.
Okay.
Do you think that John Kennedy was assassinated? Well, I hear he was. So your point is what, sir? I'm just curious. Do you think they exist?
They may exist.
So do you think that when they are reported as not only existing, but doing significant damage, you don't believe that? That may have happened, may not have happened.
All right, a couple of buildings in Ukraine. Why bother with hypersonic missiles to do?
Okay, thank you, Carl. Have a nice day. Can you imagine a news show with Carl? Well, they say there's this treatment of cancer. I don't know. They say there's cancer. I mean, why would... My God. I don't know why half of the stuff. Why would anybody in their right mind pick Zelensky to run the show when his claim to fame was playing the organ with his organ? Remember that one? Oh, they say they did that. No, it was a parody. Isn't that fascinating? We had the white supremacists before, couldn't tell us why. And this gentleman who says, well, they say it's hypersonic. No, it's there. Well, I don't know. Why would you use it? I don't know. Why would you use any missile? Anywho, let's go to Gabe in Memphis. Gabe, you're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Hello, Lionel.
Yes, Gabe.
I wanted to pass this by you. What do you think about the premise that it's possible that these beings are actually tapping into our brains and causing us to see.
This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Ah, yes, the great Mano de Bango, ladies and gentlemen. Soul Macosa. And the way in Spanish, mocoso means booger. So be careful how you say that. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Mike in a place called South Carolina. Mike, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Top of the morning, Lionel.
How are you, Mikey?
You know, I was telling the screener, I'm listening 35 years of WABC. Excellent. And I have to text my good sister Carol. She's outside of Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, bless your heart.
I'm in Long Island now, where I grew up. So okay. I'm going to pay my respects to Dad later on at the cemetery and meet some
Excellent.
friends at Long Beach Boardwalk. So you got the mojo, Lionel, on the radio. What can I say? You got the mojo.
What does that mean? What does that mean, sir?
Mojo? No. In my sense.
What does your sentence mean? What are you trying to convey and connote?
Mojo means that you're on the upswing. You like music. You still play the guitar. You still play percussion. So open mic nights, I make that wood grain conga. All I need is one. It's all drum.
Mm-hmm.
I make tabla. I make a tabla.
Mm-hmm. So, that tabla. Have you seen that fellow Hussein? What's his name? Z. Oh my God. He is the premier tabla player. I've never heard anything like this in my life. Always terrific. Anyway, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. I haven't sat behind a set of drums in 4 decades, but I've had this thing. It's got
His name is Zakir. His name is Zakir Hussein. He's an Indian tabla player. He is a monster.
I got to check him out. Yeah.
Oh my God! I've never heard anything like this ever. Poor guy. I think he died in 2024. Bless his heart. But he was incredible. Anyway, talk to me, sir.
No, that's all right. When I go back down to South Carolina, probably Tuesday, I'm gonna blend into an open mic night, and guys that are playing guitars and I love Chicago, like you said. I've seen them 5 times, the brand. So you play little, Carlos Santana or Ye Como Va, boom. So I love my music.
May I give you? And by the way, thank you for calling. May I give you a couple of things too? Listen to, if you like Santana, listen to Moonflower. This is the live album. You will hear Santana play in a way you've never played before. Listen to Dance, Sister Dance. Listen to his solo. He goes into wah-wah. He hits every technique you can imagine. Dance, Sister Dance, Dawn, Go Within. Oh, my God. He's remember, he was David Dip, Carlos Santana for a while. And as far as Chicago goes, listen to songs like What's This World Coming To? Hollywood. I've Never Been in Love Before. There's so many songs that you've never been. A Long Time No See. Ain't It Blue? Terry Kath, and I will tell you, is still, in fact, Jimi Hendrix said, was the best guitar player he's ever seen. I saw Chicago when they started off. I saw Chicago in 1970, 3, 4, something like that, at Tampa Stadium, where Steely Dan opened for them. Steely Dan, dressed in like baseball uniform, like old-fashioned baseball uniforms with Steely Dan. I saw Terry Kath play, I don't know how many times, with the original group. The original. And this week, Walt Parazater died. I don't even know who's left. I think Jimmy Panko's left, Lee Loughnane, Bobby Lamb, that's it. The rest of them, I don't even, and that's okay. And I don't know how, like, for example, I look at the Temptations now. Can they really perform? together. In any event, first let me thank Mr. Jackson and Mr. William Lee for doing an incredible job tonight, helping us through and smoothing over the hiccups and the kerfuffles and the ups and downs of the magnificence of electronic transmission. Thank you. By the way, follow me on YouTube at Lionel Nation and also on X at Lionel Media. We will see you, my dear friends, again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel for another side of midnight. And this is your new best friend, Lionel, reminding you with this valedictory, the monkey's dead. The show's over, sue ya. Da-da.